I'm gonna start this video off today with a little bit of Hollywood. I personally love to do this in my spa area before I do any spa appointments. Okay, now that we're all relaxed, today we're gonna talk about one of my favorite topics, and probably yours too, which is how to improve the integrity of your eye area, especially if you are experiencing eye bags, puffiness associated with those eye bags, or dark circles. And I just want to take a moment to say we have a little anxiety going on, so Minnie is going to be joining us back here on my spa bed now, one of the things that I want to clear up first, because there's so much marketing BS out there, is about eye bags. I see that there's so many eye products that are being marketed to you that insinuate that they could actually get rid of the eye bag. Now, if the eye product is just basically saying it'll help maybe firm a little bit the eye area, no problem. Help with puffiness, that's fantastic. But if it leads you to believe that it can actually get rid of your eye bags, it's probably a scam. So this is what I want you to bear in mind, that with the eye bags comes sagging skin, right? And you already know this. Now with those eye bags, which can make it actually look worse, is the associated puffiness, right? And even the dark circles. So today I want to clear up what will actually work, what won't, and some alternative solutions, while they may not be permanent, that you may want to look into to help improve your eye bags, and I will list those in the description below. Want to take a quick moment to say this is not medical advice. I'm a seasoned beauty professional and licensed esthetician living here in Austin, Texas. I'm sharing this information with you because I want you to understand really what works and what doesn't, so that you can make the best choice for yourself. Let's dive in. So the first thing I want to mention whenever it comes to eye bags is that makeup really is your best friend, but it can also be your worst enemy, because if you apply too much makeup over puffy eyes, sagging skin, you're kind of getting the feeling here of what that's going to look like, right? It can actually accentuate the things that you don't want it to and make it look worse, especially if you have puffiness associated with it, because if you apply any light colors over puffy areas, similarly to if you have hooded eyes and you apply, you know, certain colors and your crease, shimmery, sparkly, bright colors, or I should say light colors, it can actually make those areas look worse, more puffy. So we want to avoid that. And I'm going to give you some tips at the end about how to apply your makeup in a way that it will make things look less noticeable, more smooth, and of course less puffy. So let's talk about what are some things with that associated puffiness that can help, because that's the easiest thing basically you can do, is to make your eyes look less puffiness, because there's actually tried and true ingredients we know about that can help. So I'm going to give you some examples here. One is, this is probably my number one, right, which is caffeine, because caffeine has so many years behind it of scientific research to support what it can and cannot do, which is that it can help constrict the blood vessels to help you with those dark circles, meaning brighten up the eye area, because if it's vascular and it's constricting the blood vessels, it's going to look better. So this is my product. It's I Dream of Coffee, that has caffeine in it. I'm using it as an example of something that you might want to look for, again, if you have dark circles or puffiness. This is another example. This says Targeted Eye Depuffer by Murad. It has a stainless steel applicator, and I have found more recently that these are becoming more increasingly popular with other brands, like Dr. Idris has an eye depuffer with this type of metal applicator. So people are really catching on that this can help aid in depuffing the skin because of the coolness effect. Now let's say you don't have an eye cream, or one that's really not conducive to putting in the fridge so that it can be cool and you sort of have that cooling effect. You can also use something like a face roller. Now this is a face roller. I keep the roller part in my freezer in a bag so it stays sanitary, and then I just clean it after each use and put it back. so that when I want to use it, I can take it out of my freezer, I can put it on here, and I can actually use it on my skin. I will link these things down below for you. But whatever brand, it doesn't matter. It's just about the cool application of whatever it is on the skin. You can literally use any type of cool method you want. If you want to wrap some ice in gauze, if you want to use that old spoon technique that people talk about, keeping it in the fridge and then putting it around your eyes, if you want to use tea bags, there's so many different things that you can do. The caffeinated eye bags have more to do also with the caffeine that's in them. So it's probably less messy and more effective if you just shoot for a caffeinated eye cream. Now, what are some other ingredients that can be helpful to look for when it comes to depuffing the skin? One of my faves is aloe. I put aloe in so many of my products. This is my face butter. The first ingredient is organic aloe. Now, one thing I want you to be mindful of, this is really tricky because a lot of marketers will put aloe, but they'll use different forms of aloe, which are just not proven effective to help you with much of anything. You want to make sure it says aloe leaf juice, the juice being the important part. That is what is studied. That is what is going to help you decrease the inflammation. So whether you're using it on your whole face or underneath your eyes, aloe is definitely your BFF when it comes to depuffing your skin. Another ingredient I like it so much that you can barely, I just basically kept this because I haven't purchased a new one yet. You can see how much I've used it in the past. Arnica is great for pain, swelling, and bruising. So arnica, or products with arnica in them, I should say, are often sold at med spas whenever you go get elective cosmetic aesthetic procedures and your skin is left maybe with a little bruising and you want to make it heal a lot faster. It's homeopathic. It typically doesn't interfere with any other products you're putting on your skin, meaning medically doesn't interrupt anything. So it is really wonderful. And best of all, it really works. I've used this for so many years. And again, puffiness, bruising, and pain. I recently had a friend reach out to me and she had used one of these suction cups on her face for, I believe it was a mosquito bite. I've never used them, but apparently this is a thing. She said it works really well all over the body, but when she used it on her face, it didn't leave her with the best outcome. She actually had a discolored, basically bruise, probably about this big on her face. And so my first solution for her is put on arnica at least twice, if not 3 times a day. And of course, use a color corrector. Now, on the same line of hiding things with makeup, and since we mentioned color correction, let's just dive into that. If you have associated dark circles with your eye bags or puffiness, here's a couple things that you can do. My first makeup tip is to use something with primer in it. I've mentioned this in a lot of my videos because I am such a firm believer in eye makeup primer, but the same type of primer that you use in your face is what you want to use underneath your eye area, which is different than your eyelid primer. If you want to take a deeper dive on why face primer is so much more different and beneficial than just a facial lotion, I did a whole video on that, why primer is so important. So you can go watch that after this. But this will help you smooth out the appearance of your dark circles, your wrinkles, whatever it is, without having like a heavy makeup appearance. And because it's smoother than everything else you put on, 1, is gonna look better, 2, you're gonna use less of it. So once you use a tinted primer, okay, then you can go in with your concealer sparingly and you can apply the concealer where you need it. Now, I just did a video and I mentioned how to conceal structural issues, which are very different than vascular issues. So if you need to go back and watch that, you can watch that. That is underneath my Hollywood tips. Now, after you apply your primer and your concealer, you may still notice that you have a little bit of sagging skin, and that of course is because, as I mentioned in the beginning of this video, nothing besides surgery will permanently remove it. However, the good news is that there are some things, because technology has come a really long way, such as certain lasers that can dramatically improve the look. So if you've been wanting to do something but you don't want to go the surgery route and you have the resources for it, I'm going to list those in the descriptions below so that you can see what some options are for truly improving the look of your eye bags on a deeper level without surgery. And these are definitely things that you want to talk to your dermatologist about. So what are eye bags? Why do we even get them to begin with? Eye bags are mostly genetic. Additionally, 90% of skin damage comes from the sun. I've done an entire episode on how to properly protect your skin and use sunscreen, so go back and watch that if you haven't. There are things we can do to avoid that, and maybe things we can't do to avoid it because we're using the wrong products. So my first tip is to make sure and stay around the orbital bone area, right here, this bone, stay here. Also stay above the fold area, because when product heats up with your skin, it spreads. So we don't actually want it to get into your eye. Another thing, and especially during the summer months, that you want to consider is using a sunscreen that is water-based. This is a water-based gel sunscreen. It's one of my faves. I've been using it for years. I've mentioned it a handful of times. It's by Nivea. It's under $20. You can find it on Amazon. And the reason that I love it, I'm going to put a little bit on my hands, which I put a little bit on my hands every day now because I'm walking and I'm starting to see those little sunspots whenever I forget. But it has a serum-y little consistency to it. Can you see that? It's very serum-y. So it's less lotion-y like the ones that you see. But what I like about this is it's water-based and it's going to dry really quickly, and it's not going to be oily, and there's going to be a less likely chance that this would actually get into my eyes, because even when it heats up, it's not oily and it's not spreading like oil-based products will. Thanks for hanging out with me today. If you like this type of information, please like and subscribe to my channel and make sure to set that notification bell.